becoming the potential bans here. And
Grace
they
taken.
are going to ban Grace here on that A side. And now this leaves Baron open. So are they going to take Baron here, or are they going to take Lyra? Let's see what Nova decides. Yep, they're going to go ahead and first pick that Baron, which is pretty smart. However, I know Gankstars knows how to play against a lot of compositions. So as long as they do not screw up their draft, I think they will be fine.
And there are ways to deal with the Baron as well, typically by getting someone who can jump onto the backlines and get a lot of assassination burst damage. Something like Taka does very well. Blackfeather can do pretty well into Baron. Grace is probably one of my favorite Baron counters, but obviously was banned away. So it's a very smart ban by Nova, expecting to get, very likely get this Baron through.
I mean, Lyra also kind of enables teammates to fill that role of being able to go against Baron, because you give them that gap closer. Sweet Jacob.
Yeah, Blackfeather will probably be picked here by Gankstars because Baptiste, Grumshaw, and Koshka are banned, and normally Blackfeather is one of those top 4 junglers that a lot of people pick. Or they can even go with Samuel and give that to Xenotech, but I feel like BF would make the most sense here because you can flex him as well. And CPBF is actually really good into Baron because of his range and his ability to dive onto Baron and stick to him. So Blackfeather would probably be the smartest pick here, but you never know. They may go with another option here. But I feel like CBF would be the best decision. I like the Koshka ban, I like the Baptiste ban, because those 2 heroes are really strong with Lyra or Baron actually on both sides. So the draft is going out pretty well. They're gonna go with an Idris here, which is a good pick because Idris, again, melee counters Baron, because he can get onto him and force Baron to play defensive.
Yeah, it's also another one of those heroes that can just dive into the Baron if need be. When the jump jets come out, Idris can use his ult and not be available for a target for those the double rockets. So there are ways to definitely outplay the Baron as an Idris. Samuel gonna come through for Nova, and this is one that again has the potential to take over a game if it's not kept in check.
Yeah, they're probably gonna take Arden with Samuel here because that will counter Taka from the side of Gankstars here. So Arden will most likely come out unless they want Starboy on Lance, which they actually have preferred him on Lance over anything else. But instead they're going with Kath to directly counter the Idris. So that's actually a really smart pick there by Nova to basically counter Idris, because Kath is very good into Idris. So I see Gankstars here, given the composition of Nova, I think what makes sense for them is potentially the CP BF, or they can even do a Taka if they want to be a little more risky, so to speak, and just dive onto that Baron and force him to build defense, because a weapon Idris on a Crystal Taka, that's a lot of burst damage coming out.
We'll see if the Taka will be the final lock-in here for Gankstars. Not decided just yet, still 10 seconds on the
There's
clock.
also CP Glaive.
It's going to be Blackfeather coming on through in the end alongside that Idris. So we'll see how these compositions are going to pan out. A lot of damage on both sides though. These are very, very damage-heavy compositions, and both teams with very little CC actually. You've kind of just got Catherine's stun, and that's about it across both compositions. So this is going to be a lot about positioning and a lot about who can actually burst people down quickest.
Yeah, Catherine's stun, the Oblivion, but that's obviously nowhere near as frequent as the Catherine stun. So it is going to be tough to lock down anyone in this game, which is, I feel like, gives a slight edge to the side of Gankstars because they have a little bit more, dive and mobility throughout these team fights. So not being able to lock down those targets could cause problems if they get onto the Baron and Samuel.
All right, Sweet J, what are your thoughts?
I really like Xenotech on Blackfeather. He's done phenomenal on it. It's CP Blackfeather with a Lyra you're talking. That's going to win early game against a Samuel and a Catherine. And Baron's going to have a rough time getting to his late game if they're going to snowball the jungle. So I think Gangstar is going to take this game.
All right, so we're certainly favoring Gankstars on the desk. We want to know who you guys at home are favoring as well. Hashtag Vainglory on Twitter. Get in touch. Let us know who you are going to be supporting moving on forwards in the Vainglory 8. But we're going to be jumping on into this game shortly. It is Gankstars up against Nova. Nova making their debut here on the Halcyon Fold, here on the main stream, up against Gankstars, one of the top American teams coming on into this one. We actually spoke to Iraqi Zorro back in London about his team.
I'm really disappointed with my personal performance because I don't think I played really well, especially in the last game. Props to my teammates for making sure they alleviate some pressure off of me and perform really well so that they can carry me through the games.
And, you know, I remember the Gankstars games from London, and it was Xenotech just stepping up to an entirely new level with Scoundrel. Now, we'll have to see. Araki Zoro on a incredibly mechanically adept hero like Idris. He's going to really have to be pulling his weight if he wants to go up against this Baron.
Yeah, and I think Iraqi Zoro, he has had some up and down performances in his career, but has generally been very consistent. Xenotech has only got better and better the longer that he has been playing with this Gankstars roster, so it's a good thing to keep an eye on him. It's going to be a weapon power Idris, it looks like, and a CP Blackfeather in the jungle. Dowsy, I think I'm usually the analyst here, but when it comes to weapon power Idris, I feel like I might have to hand the reins over to our resident Idris one trick. What do you feel like this matchup goes like, especially as the game progresses?
So typically in Europe, you usually pair the Idris with an Ardent. Araki's in a lot of trouble. Very hard. This matchup's very hard for Idris. Early on, Idris is going to struggle because of the lane pressure that the Catherine has. That's why you paired it with a Lyra here, is so that Idris has the healing and has a bit of backup so that he can take this harass from both Starboy and Truth in the lane. Typically, Idris can blow up Baron, but it's going to rely a full coordination from the side of Gankstars. The portal on top of Baron with the Bright Bulwark needs to be imperfect, essentially, so that Idris can dive on top of the Baron, blow him up with his combo, and when the Bright Bulwark does expire, if Baron's not dead by then, Idris can obviously follow up with a Shimmer Strike, follow the Baron to wherever he lands. Starboy, he's going to have his work cut out for him. Catherine, very good into Idris, can stun him instantly and really just cut down the combo, so I feel like Starboy is going to be the key to really keeping Truth alive, but you know, that sounds dumb considering he's the captain, even more so than usual.
Man, Dowsy could literally talk about Idris for days. As wow, very low veins going on this Lyra. They're going to jump forward and put pressure on Xenotech here. I've now become the play-by-play somehow. Not sure how this has happened, but it has.
You started this. You said I had to do the analysis, so that means you have to do the play-by-play.
Actually, by the way, something we didn't touch on. Gangstar did get first blood in the jungle. Yep. Is because a lot of pressure from Truth and Starboy in the lane here, trying to put pressure onto Iraqi Zoro early on, did allow Veins and a level 2 Xenotech to pressure a Samuel, which I think was losing some of the massive power spike that you have here as the Nova composition. Samuel, one of the best level 2 duelists in the game, and you left him alone in the jungle in favor of trying to put pressure onto Xenotech on this Idris. So you did allow your early power spike from Low Delphi to kind of get dragged out a bit as another little fight taking place here.
Oh, and it's just happened again. This is going to be troublesome if they continue allowing Lone Delphi to be poked out here. Idris very good into both Baron and Samuel because of his blow-up potential. And when you pair that with the poke that Xenotech can put out with a Black Feather, we know that his Black Feather is, you know, fantastic. Then you're going to have your work cut out for you, because typically Gankstars are going to actually want to start the fight off by poking as much as possible if they can at range, with Chakrams with on points before looking for an all-in engage.
Absolutely, they're going to want to be able to put pressure on this roster. But again, you are going up against a Drifting Dark Malisympathetic Samuel, who is going to be able to, with Frostburn, put massive pressure on you, make sure that Truth can potentially hit a couple of those basic attacks that could start to hurt as the game progresses. And you do have Starboy, who can soak damage in poke compositions on this Catherine. You just have him stand at the front, proc his Storm Shield, suddenly he starts tanking on points, tanking chakrams, and you lose a little bit of the efficacy of them, the ability for them to have the impact that you want them to. As Starboy again starts to put pressure onto Xenotech in the jungle here, he will just, I think he's trying to spam the recall to get that wonderful glitchy recall bug, but not going to happen.
So many pros recently have rediscovered this bug where if you... it completely doesn't impact gameplay, by the way. I just want to put that out there. But if you you recall and move at the same time, you kind of do this shuffle across the ground that looks really funny. More so tilts your opponent if you're ahead and you're just doing it all around. I know I certainly got tilted when some members of the European pro community did it to me in 3-man queue. But... Moving along, Scoundrel, before I derail the entire cast here, it hasn't been a terrible start for Nova. They've maintained early pressure from the side of Xenotech and Araki. In fact, in the lane, it's been Truth trying to put the pressure on. Now, he has to be careful because here comes Xenotech looking for a gank. Bright Bulwark will stop him from jump jetting away, and he's going to have it up in just a second. Founder comes out. He goes sideways instead of backwards, and Xenotech's able to find the snipe.
Yeah, snipes him out with the on point there. Something that I really like about having the Black Feather is something that we always underestimate with Black Feather, by the way, Dowsy. The trail that he generates will be of use to Iraqi Zoro, especially when they're trying to follow up on a specific target. You get that movement speed boost. I think it's something that we kind of underestimate about focusing a single target when you're running a double melee composition. That that boost is incredibly important, Dalsu.
Certainly is. Lone Delphi now in trouble, and you can see that trail being set up. Vane's rushing forward. Araki needs to get in range. Doesn't even need it. Xenotech has the job and will take it down. Here comes Truth, though. Truth can actually win this fight if he positions correctly, but Araki instantly dives forward. That shuts that one down right where he stood.
Already hit that crucial point of unlocking the divergent paths for the Idris, so he's now able to just instantly teleport when he uses his A. Here comes the ultimate from
This is
Truth.
huge. Ion. Okay.
Forces the fountain. Forces the fountain out of Veins, though.
Now for Nova, they have to execute. They have to find a window of opportunity where they look for a kill. Veins, of course, on Lyra can provide healing and will provide healing. But there's 40 seconds now Nova can execute, and if they don't execute, then it's a hell of a waste. In fact, Truth has just got caught by Xenotech in the jungle here, but Xenotech happy to take this duel. Truth now with Araki on his side. Oh, Shimmer Strike over. Araki may miss the chakram, but he finds the kill. Xenotech finds the Samuel, and Starboy, he has his fountain up. I don't know what he was looking at in that fight, perhaps trying to save the Baron and not noticing that Lone Delphi was also in trouble.
Hey, look, let's not criticize Starboy. It's a little known fact that he's actually the best player in North America, mate. So
XD.
Anyway, I actually do want to sort of praise Starboy for something that I don't see too many Catherines do. Is just consistently stacking. Because Catherine is so powerful right now, because in part due to how good she is into certain compositions, but also in part due to that fact that her heroic perk got buffed by 1 shield and armor for every stack. So the more you stack Catherine, the quicker that she gets to a point where you have incredible resistances, and it's very hard to take her down. So the more you can stack early game, the better it is to transition into the part of the game where Catherine becomes very strong, which is in that later stage when you do have all those stacks. And we're at 7 minutes, and Starboy has already got 15, so that's 30 extra shielding and armor that he's already picked up. So that's already a lot of resistances that he has logged in the tank just from that early game pressure that he's putting on with those stuns.
Yeah, it's pretty impactful for Starboy if he can build up those resistances, especially in the late game. Can start tanking up the on points, the chakrams. Starboy did actually pop his fountain in the middle of nowhere by mistake. I assume it was a mistake. He's going to move in. He has his fountain up in just 6 seconds. Xenotech gets stunned, but here comes Veins diving straight on forward onto Lone Delphi and Truth. They can turn this fight over. They need to start laying down the damage onto these carries here. Araki looking like he wants to go in. Has Poison Shiv, can shut down the healing, but Starboy, if he's the front line, can do work. Iron Cannon won't find anything. Good disengage coming out of Gankstars. This is kind of where things become a bit sketchy, I think, for Gankstars, is if they don't blow up a target with their Arcane Passage in, then the re-engage potential on the side of Nova is pretty huge. Starboy can just stun people, and Nova will be able to blow them up if that happens.
Yeah, Gankstars have got 2 components to their composition. Again, that ranged composition that they have. Wait a second.
Oh, Araki Zoro takes a lot of damage, but once more, it's a fountain not quite saving the life of his Baron. Xenotech looking for the on point, doesn't hit it. Good dodge from Starboy. He survives as well from the harass
really
from
good at keeping
Veins.
himself alive.
Right. Knows his damage, can take what he can take with damage. At the moment, Gankstars are just consistently finding a blow up, an assassination. Araki? Araki might dead here. I feel like Lone Delphi kills him. Nope. Okay, never mind.
I think the Crucible out there from Veins just kept Iraqi Zoro alive. Looks like Xenotech here does have that stolen away from him, however. And he gets blown up.
And he gets blown up. There you go. So, very aggressive positioning from Gankstars. They feel ahead, right?
They do feel ahead, but again, you do have to respect the fact that if Nova do catch you, you have got a lot of burst damage coming through with this Baron who's got tension bow right now. And obviously, if Samuel can land those empowered malice and verdicts, that's always incredibly hard and difficult to deal with. You've also got to stress the fact that these are 2 very squishy melee carries, realistically. Idris, very easy to take down if you can lock him down, as is a CP Blackfeather. Doesn't build too defensively as a weapon power Blackfeather would. So, and doesn't have the sustain built into his kit like a weapon power Blackfeather would. So he's a little bit more of a squishy target to focus down. So if Nova can lock them down. And I always feel like Catherine is a really good hero to lock down those particular targets with, especially when you've got a lot of single target bursts from Nova. You have to be very careful about your positioning for Gankstars, because if you get caught by anybody from Nova, these two carries will very quickly hit the floor.
Certainly will. Gankstars doing a lot of good work here. Truth getting pressured down by these chakrams. Araki consistently hitting them onto Truth, and it just makes the defense of this turret so hard because Araki is able to reposition with his Shroud Step so quickly, turn things around. Baines takes a huge chunk of damage there, will be able to heal himself up over time, and these on points from Xenotech just off the side, out of field of view for the side of Nova, makes things very difficult. They could look for a dive here, and I'm sure they will. Baines can set it up very nicely with the passage. Starboy's used his stun as well, but the Drifting Dark is not something you really want to fight in, so Gankstars will decide not to. This turret's very low, mind you. They could just stick around and look to poke it down. Truth is getting antsy. He wants to fight. He wants to kill Araki Zoro, and he's not really using those jump jets to the full capacity. The fountain will be used to heal everyone up. This is the fountain to heal themselves up so they can stay around, defend the turret. This turret is still very low. I feel like it's only a matter of time till Gankstars take it.
Very close here. Long range chakrams, long range on points coming out. This is the range that Gankstars can look to exploit. Remember, there's a very limited time using Drifting Dark where Lone Delphi can respond. So getting caught when he doesn't have that Drifting Dark up is important. First turret does go down for Gankstars. They can just disengage, but Nova didn't really give anything much more away. They didn't try and defend it with their life as Starboy runs in. Doesn't quite find the stun here. Got the Null Wave Gauntlet now, by the way. Already picked up that Null Wave Gauntlet. A very aggressive move in terms of itemization. Gives a bit of cooldown reduction, which Catherine does really use. But, they don't have anything like a Crucible, which could be really useful at saving carries. They've gone for a very aggressive movement in the form of that Null Wave Gauntlet.
Araki dives in here. Can he find the damage onto Lone Delphi? Lone Delphi's in a lot of trouble. Xenotech looking for the execute. Oh, and he goes down. Truth now going to be targeted, but a good stun will hold him up. Xenotech might lose his life. No, never mind. It's Xenotech. I forget who I'm talking of. That's going to be the carries of Nova going down here. Now, I just want to touch on itemization from the Idris real quick. You do see Araki going towards the tier 3 armor here. I actually think from a lot of testing I've done, there's an argument to be made to skip armor completely and go towards a Slumbering Husk. Usually Baron does a lot of burst damage.
Darcy loves these Slumbering Husks.
No, yeah, I do. I do. But it's into very specific heroes, and that very specific hero is Baron, who we've seen multiple times tonight.
Yeah, sure. No, I agree. I mean, I haven't done enough testing on Slumbering Husk to sort of assess its value, but I do feel like it is something that should be maybe considered more so than armor. I don't think armor's that good against Baron, personally. Because realistically, he will hit hard, and even despite you having armor, it's a lot of AoE damage as well, a lot of sparse damage on those rockets. So even if he hits you, he might be doing damage to the rest of your team regardless. I think what's the best place to do with Baron is if you can get in before he lands that burst, and once that burst has been landed, Slumbering Husk will protect you from that. And that crucial moment after then, when he winds up for the next auto attack, as long as you block the jump jet's double basic attack, you actually then have a big opportunity to jump in and start to blow him up. So I think I could be on board with you that, Darcy. I think there's an opportunity there. Use the Slumbering Husk to negate the jump jet's double basic attack. Use that to tank it up as you move in onto him, and then blow him up once you've got into position.
And this is what Gankstars are continuously doing. They are engaging fights. Araki does go low, but it's just going to be Lone Delphi targeted on down. Gankstars have realized they don't actually need to kill Truth every fight. They can go for Lone Delphi and it's going to be just as effective because then Truth doesn't have the support of a Samuel. And Araki going to make that chakram dance and find himself another kill. Very nice stuff. Do lose Veins in the process, but that's a win for Gankstars because they're keeping Truth off the Halcyon Fold, which means he's not farming and a CS deficit is being created in favor of Araki.
I would have this worry in the back of my mind, though, Dalsy, right now, that Truth is very close to 4 items. That is the one thing that I'm in the back of my mind thinking, that actually Truth is getting close towards another Tyrant's monocle here. And something that we haven't really talked about is these fights, although they are going in Gankstars' favor, there is still an element of them that does feel quite close. The damage coming out from Truth is starting to hurt. That was Xenotech scraping his life, and Veins obviously going down. So there is this element now in the back of my mind. I'm thinking, actually, this Baron is coming towards a point where he could be fairly scary. Keep an eye on that because Nova is going to start, sort of Truth is going to start scaling up pretty quickly. Yeah.
And you know, without harping on, this is where the Slumbering Husk becomes so useful. You look at Xenotech; he's actually going towards an Aftershock on this Black Feather. We had a conversation about Aftershock on CP Black Feather. Obviously, used to be a standard build at one point, but has kind of fallen out meta with the rise of CP Black Feather recently. Xenotech wants to be on the front line, so you know if Xenotech and Araki are both wanting to be frontlining here, getting those auto attacks off on their, they're both, ranged kind of melee hybrids, then perhaps they need that capability to survive the burst damage that comes out of Truth. They are going to dive on in, but Truth managing to escape the snare of the Bright Bulwark, able to channel it just in time. That's when things become worrying. If they are diving onto Truth and not finding a kill, then they are going to take a significant amount of damage in return. And Gankstars is going to have to be ready to take it. Araki positioning, looking for the fight. Truth diving away. It's going to be Lone Delphi once more. Targeted, but he's alive. Fountain and Truth is laying down some damage. Never mind, he's not sunk. It's going to be Araki stealing his life away. Starboy going to be trying to get Lone Delphi out of this one alive, but Araki doesn't want to have any of it, and that on-point slows down, and the Chakram does connect. Gankstars are making this look easy. Starboy will lose his life next, and that's going to be an ace coming through for Gankstars.
But I remember now that Idris has also built up that tension bow, which, if I remember from my Idris masterclasses from Dalsy, very good at bursting a single target, which is what tension bow is meant for. He finished that just before that last fight. So he had that finished between that and the last fight. So now he's finished it. He's now got an extra bit of single target burst to put pressure on Truth with. And Truth has been rushing those 4 items, which I think is very important for him to reach, but hasn't really invested that much into defense, especially as he's only sitting on a singular light armor at this point in time. Kraken is now on the board. I also really like that Xenotech is now pushing further towards a clockwork. Something that I've always felt about CP Blackfeather. So he's finished it now. Something that I've always liked about CP Blackfeather is that he kind of falls off towards the late game. There's a big fight broken up there.
It is a big fight. Lone Delphi off to the side. Truth cannot escape the Shimmer Strike. That's how powerful it is, chasing him down, and Lone Delphi gets slowed. It's going to be Xenotech chasing, huge jump forward, and that's going to be another kill going over to Xenotech. Araki trying to deal with Starboy, struggling a little bit, but he's going to get the assistance of Xenotech, and he's going to secure a triple kill for himself. His Black Feather is ridiculous as the game gives him that title, and ace comes through for Gankstars, and Nova are falling to the wayside.
I think this could just be a push for win for Gankstars. Again, like I was going to say, I really love that Xenotech didn't rest on just the Shattered Glass and the Broken Myth. I love that he went for the Clockwork. I do feel like in the late game there is a lull in CP Blackfeather's damage if you just have the Shattered Glass and the Broken Myth. Looks like we're going to be ending the game right here, right now, though, Darcy.
Yep, it is just going to be Gankstars taking this one away. Never allowed Truth to really get online. Neither did Lone Delphi either. It's the risk of running a double, late game threat is that when you've got melee heroes that can blow you up, target you down, that if you never hit that stage, you're going to really struggle to survive a game like this.
So I think compositionally, Gankstars were always in an advantage because they had the ability to just dive a Baron, and I think that's something that's really